Hey, what's up everybody? This is the daddy
daughter
dance. My name's Tobin Walsh. I'm a top parenting blogger, but more importantly, the young lady on my right in our fancy studio you've come to know as my co-host is my daughter Viviana. Say hi to the people, Vivi.
Hey guys.
Hey, so what are we talking about today?
We are going to be talking about allergies.
Allergies. Ready for my song this week? Ready?
Yeah.
Allergies, allergies, talking about allergies, allergies. Talking about gluten-free, talking about don't eat no cheese, talking about allergies. Alright, so school is full boat with us, right? And I thought, one of the things we could talk about is it seems like every year one of the things that happens during open houses for parents and kids is that they hear about a classmate that might have certain reactions to certain things, and you got to be careful. So we always talk about allergies at the beginning of the year. So what do you know about allergies?
Well, the definition of allergies.
Well, first, is anybody in your class today sensitive to things that you have to be careful
not
of?
that I know of, but maybe.
So they haven't said anything yet?
No.
We've had a couple instances though where you had to be particularly careful, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you were saying that people had to wash hands and be
Last
careful
year,
of what people brought in.
2 people in my class had severe nut allergies.
Severe
So,
what?
Nut allergies.
Oh, nut allergies. Okay.
So
Yep.
no peanut butter. You're not allowed to have peanut butter or anything in your class.
Okay. Well, what is so definition of allergies? What would you say?
The definition of allergies is when you're say you're allergic to food.
Okay.
If you eat it,
You can't define the word by using the word in the definition. How about I help you out? Because we'll get to I know you did a bunch of research on this. You want to share with everybody?
No, say I'm allergic to cantaloupe or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not allowed to eat it. Is basically what.
Okay.
Or you're not allowed to touch it.
Well, a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about today, at least my stuff that I researched, is from WebMD, and WebMD says that it's basically hypersensitive responses of the immune system to substances.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a catch-all, we call it, for the definition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty beautiful thing. So that kind of catches all. So basically, it's saying it's a reaction. So you're introduced to your body's introduced to something and doesn't react well to it.
Yeah.
Like you to your brothers. All right, so let's start with it's true. Let's start with a couple different things. So I had Vivi look up some stuff regarding allergies. What did you find? What's the most common allergies for kids?
Well, I had 4 actually, but I'm changing one of them because I just remembered one.
This is most common allergies or ones you're familiar with?
Most common and familiar.
Okay, bust them out. Let's go from bottom to top.
Oh, okay. So number 1 is poison ivy. Everyone's allergic to.
Oh, poison ivy. Okay.
And then number 3, I put cheese. I guess.
Cheese, yeah.
For lactose intolerant, and then I had another one cats, dogs, animals.
Okay.
Anything.
Pet dander, they call it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Pollen.
far we have poison ivy, cheese and dairy, pollen.
Yeah. Pollen.
Do you know what pollen is?
Yeah.
How would you describe
Pollen is basically, it's this brown tiny thing. You can find it on flowers and stuff.
Yeah, I always think about it. It's
But in the fall, there's pollen everywhere.
It depends where you are.
Yeah,
So,
but in Florida, there's a lot.
Yeah, we live in Florida. Some people know that. Sometimes our cars get caked with this gooky, yellowy, greeny substance, and that's called pollen.
Yeah.
Pollen's kind of a nice catch-all for airborne stuff that triggers allergic reactions.
Yeah.
And if you have a pollen problem, usually people sneeze a lot.
Yeah.
And it's
you don't
noses
get
run.
Yeah, you get basically a cold.
Okay, and then you mentioned number 1, and it's one that I think everybody's aware of.
Severe.
Nuts. Okay. You always hear peanut allergy. I think nut allergy and peanut allergies is basically synonymous, right? Yeah. Basically saying the same thing. One of the things. So you've experienced, or at least I've experienced
types of allergies lactose intolerant and gluten-free he has.
Yeah. So again, it's a hypersensitive response to a substance. So let's talk about nuts, vegan. Because I think all of us are vegans a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
Good point. But so let's one by one. The one that we run into most, I feel like, definitely in schools, public schools, is nut allergies.
Yeah.
Those can be pretty serious,
Uh-huh.
and it seems like younger and younger people have.
Some people have like a very severe allergy to nuts. Now, like if they touch them or even like a little close. No, if they touch them or eat them, they can die.
Yeah, it's
severe.
crazy, and so also it's not even they touch them. It's if it enters the same room, all this kind of stuff. There's also really extreme
if you get touched by someone that has nuts.
Yeah, but there's also really extreme stuff. Like Vivi's mentioned a bunch of extreme stuff. Like there's people that are allergic to the sun. Like
Water.
seriously, it's not a laughing
Water.
matter. Imagine that if you couldn't go
girl's
outside.
allergic to water.
Really? So there's all kinds of different stuff people could be allergic to. And I guess what I wanted to get across in this show was kind of say, hey, what does it mean to be allergic? That I think we covered that. Is it serious when people are allergic to stuff? And I think that answer is yes. And then what can we all do when we know somebody is sensitive or allergic to something to help them out? So I think we've established what allergies are.
Yeah.
We've talked about the common types of allergies, what we'll run into in schools. Now, one of the things, so when I was looking at different allergy stuff, this is kind of a fun little fact. I looked up the 5 worst places to live for allergies, because the one thing I can't understand is we've lived all over the country, right?
Yeah.
Vegas and Iowa and Wisconsin and now Florida.
I don't even know what Las Vegas is like. People say, you lived in Las Vegas?
It was
I
just
said,
quick.
like, what?
Yeah, it was
I
nice,
lived there.
hot. But okay, beside that, what I find really interesting is when we moved around, I've always heard, we grew up in Iowa where there's a lot of farming and harvesting, so I always thought allergies were way worse in places that had more farming. So I thought, we're going to move to Florida and we won't have allergies. No, that's not the case. The allergies just change, it feels like.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody has allergies no matter where you go. So I guess the message to me is, just because you move somewhere with no winter or with a winter doesn't mean you're exempted from allergies.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. So top 5 worst places to live for allergies, right? Number 5, McAllen, Texas. So that's right on the border of Mexico.
Okay.
Louisville, Kentucky. We were just in Louisville. We like Louisville a lot. Syracuse, New York is number 3 as worst.
In
the
New
top,
York?
yeah, Syracuse. In the top 2 go Memphis, Tennessee.
We were there.
Yeah, we were there not too long ago. And then the worst, and this is universally the worst from everything I read, was Jackson, Mississippi. So you know what's interesting about that is you look at the geography of where those places are, Viv. You have hot climates. You have climates that get lots of snow. Syracuse, New York gets like tons of snow every year. And you have kind of in between. So really, it's kind of like there's no West Coast cities, I guess. Maybe you just say move to California and you're all good, right?
Yeah.
But isn't that interesting? It doesn't matter where you live, you're going to have allergy problems.
Yeah.
Okay. And we see them in Florida a lot.
Pollen.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what about so let's say the common signs of that you might be allergic to something, there's congestion, there's sniffling, you can get rashes, your breathing is labored. Once you detect that, and parents, I guess everything I've read is at early ages your kids will display those qualities, so you should really take it seriously if it doesn't go away. Like a normal virus, so go get them tested. Now, what are the tests entail?
I got 2 I'm doing most common allergy test, and I got blood test is normally for kids probably, and like a skin test that would hurt.
Okay, yeah, I mean it's back in the day, like when I got tested when I was a kid for allergies, what they did, it was crazy, man. They did numbers on my arms up to 50, and they just basically injected you with a small dose of whatever it was. Let's say cornmeal, and they put it into you. Let's say it was
Needle?
wheat. Yeah, it was a needle. It hurt.
Ooh.
And then they did it on your back for other ones, and they just like scraped you, dude.
Oh, that hurt.
Isn't that crazy? I wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they do that anymore. I think that's what a skin test is. But I don't
wouldn't
think they
get
do that.
tested if I would do that. I wouldn't. When I go to the doctors, I'm like scared to death, even though I know I'm not getting a shot.
Well, yeah. So the test might not be so great, and the thing is, when you're just kind of
blood test wouldn't hurt that.
Well, I think the problem with at least from a parent perspective, is a lot of these symptoms seem kind of like cold. Like, oh, he just has another cold. Oh, he just has another cold. like the rashes are obvious. If your kid breaks out in a rash, you immediately freak out and you think something's up, and you know you got into something. But like congestion
I had a
or a
rash.
runny nose.
I had a rash.
Oh yeah. In like 2 years, you'll be so embarrassed about that.
No, I don't.
But bottom line
I
is,
had a rash. I don't have it anymore.
so in all the research I read, there's nothing that tells you, okay, if this happens, then go to the doctor and get allergy tested. I think it's more about something that really doesn't tend to go away. So congestion that lasts forever. Certain things that you're noticing are cyclical, like during the fall this happens. That typically is a good sign that you might have an allergy happening in your house.
He's saying I might be gluten-free.
Yeah, and hereditary, that's a good point. So there's a lot of...
I get canker sores everywhere, a lot.
That's viral. Yeah, but heredity plays a role too. So if you know you're sensitive to certain things, and your kids exhibit some of the same symptoms, maybe you can do things like that. Maybe that's just a preference and an allergy. The difference between preferences and allergies.
I know.
Now, if you're an allergy, you could get out of eating shrimp, but since you're not, nope.
Well, I still do get out of it.
Well, let's talk about. So now we know what an allergy is, how it's tested, what parents should look for. Let's talk about what. No, I'll get to that. Vivi wants to get to her notes. She always wants to get to her notes, and she's 2 steps ahead.
Well, what you say is like I have nothing for. You only put 3 things I had to research, and you're saying all these other things.
Well, because I'm kind of rounding it out. Because I'm the parent, and we like to think we're very smart, right?
Yeah.
You know it. All right, so
Kids do too.
now we know what allergies are, how to test for them, when to test for them. Vivi's hopping on this, but treatment of allergies. So, like for instance, you heard me say I'm gluten-free because I have celiac disease, which is I can't eat any wheat-based barley, rye products. Basically, I can do things that I love, which is just avoid that. So first way of treatment is just avoiding it. So if you don't,
He's used to
so if you don't hit poison ivy, you won't ever know you're allergic to poison ivy. Dairy products, or if you're allergic to dairy, you stay away from dairy.
Everyone's allergic to poison ivy.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, obviously, the first treatment, quote unquote, for an allergy is to avoid the allergen, they call it. Secondly, you can get medication. So, have you heard of the medications? Like, you can get it over the counter now, like Claritin.
To see, I know.
You know, that kind of stuff.
I thought you were saying like to see if we have allergies.
No.
That would be amazing if they had like a medicine.
A medicine
to see if you had to drink medicine and then puke it out and then see if you have.
Sounds
allergies.
awful.
I know, but it would be better than getting skin.
No thanks. When you say puke, adults immediately, parents
Puke
immediately
is
like are out.
Food that digested wrong.
Gross. Okay. Well, back to allergies. So medications are everywhere and available. Some over the counter, some are prescription based, but typically pretty cheap and available. So that could be a way. I mean, the other thing too with medicines, you got to be careful because parents could be just hiding a deeper problem. So I do think that going to the doctor and getting tested to confirm what you need before you just go buy a bunch of Claritin, that would probably be a good idea. And then lastly,
very bad canker sores.
no, not for the canker sores. That's viral. So
no, you said I might be. Okay, fine.
Well, who knows?
I'm just gonna talk.
And then lastly, if you have a severe allergy, maybe like the lady at school or the girl at school, she might be carrying something called an EpiPen around. Do you know what that is?
No. Oh, maybe it's like a shot.
So let's talk. Vivi's last thing she researched. Yeah, no, let's talk. What did you research? I asked you to look at, okay, what happens during allergic reaction. So Vivi looked at...
I said, well, I know this one. Sometimes.
Oh, no research required?
Well, like, I had to research for 2 of them.
Nice.
Okay, so one of them is like, you break out into hives. Hives are these like, they look like,
It's like a skin rash.
Yeah, they look like a skin rash.
Yeah, so that
And they're really itchy. And then also your face gets puffy maybe. And then you get itchy.
So yeah, those
itchy.
And that's why allergies are so important to be aware of. And that's why more and more you're seeing more schools get involved with trying to provide alternatives. So telling parents and other kids about different allergies and the severities of those, because it's not like itchy eyes or watery eyes and congestion or hives can even just go away, right? Not a big deal. But there's sometimes there are very serious reactions that like could result in people like going to the hospital. You know, I saw this word and I'm gonna butcher it probably. I'll probably get email about it. Anaphylaxis? Anaphylaxis. So that's another good word to learn.
I've never.
It's basically, it's a severe allergic reaction that requires one of these EpiPens typically to get you out of it.
EpiPen?
So an EpiPen is like
shot.
It's a shot.
It's a shot that you carry.
Yeah, a self-administered shot. And what basically, the reason you have it is because typically a really bad allergic reaction attacks two places. It attacks your airways, so your throat swells, and so that enables you not to breathe very well, right? So it's like you can't breathe, you're gasping for air, and then like Darth Vader. And then secondly, your blood pressure falls because your blood vessels widen. So it's basically when you have a severe allergic reaction, a bad one, like if you would have put peanut butter in the lady's mouth that was severely allergic to nuts, would have been EpiPen time because she would have been going through anaphylaxis because her airways would be constricted, she couldn't breathe, and her blood vessels would widen.
It would help her.
Oh, so I don't know exactly the science
Is that why? Wait, never mind.
But I don't know the science of EpiPens, but basically it's an instantaneous boost of allergy medicine. Yeah, but it's an extreme deal. Like if you had to use one, that'd be extremely scary.
Can you put like the EpiPens in your arm anyway?
You know, I don't know. I don't know where EpiPens, the greatest location for EpiPens is.
Where's EpiPens? Oh.
Yeah, EpiPen. EpiPen is like the slang word for it.
EpiPen.
It's the medicine starts with E, epi something, but.
I don't know if I could do it. Like if I had an allergic reaction, I don't know if I could do it.
It's bad.
It would probably hurt.
Well, I don't think you would be doing it because if you had an allergic reaction, it would be somebody else trying to help you out because you couldn't breathe and your blood pressure is dropping. It's almost as if you're like going into like almost a heart attack situation. So that'd be awful, right? So I mean, that's why, not to scare anybody, but you know, I think it's important to understand the symptoms, and when they're mild, it's fine. But go to the doctor, get your kids tested, and seriously, like, don't play around. If somebody has a big, huge allergy in your class, like, don't say, "Oh, that's okay to send peanut butter crackers." They sit way away from them, right? Like seriously, everybody needs to heed those warnings, right? Yeah. Don't you think? Because you just never know, and heaven forbid you be responsible for somebody like collapsing and having to use their EpiPen. All right, so that's all we have on allergies. Anything else, Vivi?
No.
Okay.
I only have this.
That's it for allergies. Talking about allergies. Talking about gluten-free. Talking about eat no cheese. Talking about allergies. Vivi and I hope you learned something today. We hope you come back, and we thank you for joining the Daddy
Daughter
Dance. Come back soon. Bye-bye.